Hello everyone, it's Kari. Welcome back to my channel. This week's Keeping It New with Kari focuses on a stamp set from WPlus 9. It's one of my favorites from WPlus 9. This is probably a couple years back, but it's called Holiday Hugs, and it features this adorable polar bear hugging, I guess, his little friend there. So I'm going to start off by going ahead and coloring in my image, and I did stamp this down onto a piece of Paper Tray Ink Stamper Select white cardstock, and all of the colors that I am using for my colors for my Copics today are going to be listed below on the bottom of the screen there for you, just in case you need those for reference. And so I'm going to start off by just adding some shadows to my polar bear. Now, I probably should have used, looking back, I probably should have used the C1 instead of the C2 for my lightest shade for adding in my shadows, but either way, it turned out just fine. But I was having a little bit of a harder time blending in the C2 with my colorless blender for some reason, and I don't know if it's just because my colorless blender is a little bit dry and I need to actually re-ink it, but I did have to go over this several times to get it softened up the way I wanted it to. But in the end, it worked out just fine. So after I add in the shadows to my polar bear, I'm going to add a little bit of a rosy cheek to both the polar bear and the little girl there. And then to add some color to the scarf, as well as the little girl's, I guess her little socks or boots, I guess you want to say. Well, I'm going to color her legs as tights instead of actual skin. So I'm going to use the R02 for the rosy cheeks, and then I'm going to use RV25 and then RV29 to add some of the color to her little outfit, parts of her outfit, as well as the scarf on the polar bear. Now, I did have a little bit of a mishap with I believe it's the RV25, and this happens sometimes with Copics. And I've been told as to why it does happen, but I have actually forgotten, in case that you're new to Copics, I've forgotten the reason why, but I have been told, once it happens, you'll know what I mean here. But I have been told that it's best to take off both cap ends to let the Copic itself, I don't know, just kind of breathe, I guess. But I went a little heavy. I guess it started getting a little heavy toward as I'm coloring in this RV2025, and it does bleed a little bit, and it kind of I don't know what the actual terminology is for it, but it just kind of bleeds out all at once. Here in just a moment you'll see what I'm talking about. It starts kind of doing it a little bit right here, and then I keep going, and then there it goes again. So I did want to go ahead. I didn't panic, because this has happened to me a little bit before on this particular color. But I just went ahead and colored in the rest of my image there on that part of the scarf. And then I just took my colorless blender and then tried to push back as most of that color as I possibly could. Now, this is probably one of the worst colors this could happen with, but as you'll see here in a moment and a little bit later as I'm finished coloring it, and once I've got it die cut, you'll see how I'm going to fix that little mishap there. So we're going to continue on to coloring our image, and I'm using the E07 and the E09 for the little girl's hair, kind of like a reddish color hair. Reddish brown, and then I'm going to color in her face with E11 and E13, and then I'm going to color back in those rosy cheeks there to accentuate those just a little bit more. And then I'm going to work on the little outfit here. So I thought I would go ahead and create a little bit of a minty color for her outfit, and I'm going to use G21 and YG41 for the little outfit here. So this is probably an unusual color combination together, but I think I made it work just fine. I actually need a little bit more of a variety in my Copic stash for minty colors, but I just obviously used with what I had, and I think it worked out just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on to add in those shadows and shading on her little coat or little outfit there. And then I'm going to work on her little boots, as well as like I said, I'm going to color in her legs as tights, and then we'll move on to the hat. And I wanted to keep the colors, relatively all in the same color scheme that I had going. I didn't want to pick out too many colors of Copics, just to make it easier on myself. So, and I'm also gathering inspiration from the pattern paper that I'm using, which I will show you here in a little bit later in the video. So I'm adding in a little bit more of the shadows around her face there, and then I'm going to blend those back out with the lightest color. So I really do love this image. Like I mentioned before, it's one of my favorites. I think this polar bear image is absolutely adorable, and I think it's so super sweet. Every time I see this image, it actually just reminds me of my friend Christy, and she's actually Christy Gets Crafty here on YouTube if you're not familiar, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, but she's got a great channel, and I will link her channel in the description bar area if you haven't checked it out. So I'm going to show you here, once I've got this die cut out, I'm going to fix this little problem, and it's very, very simple fix. So I'm going to take my white gel pen, and I've got to get really close up because I can't see, but I'm really just going to go along really carefully with my white gel pen and just go along over that, along that white edge where the die cut left that white border, and you can't even tell that it happened. So while I have my white gel pen out, I thought I'd go ahead and add some extra detail to the scarf just to give it a little extra something and kind of break up all that pink there. And then I'm going to do the same to her little tights and give it some little polka dots. And I apologize that I was a little off frame here. But I'm also going to do the same thing to the little, edge of her little hat there. And it really does break it up a lot, but it actually adds a little extra something in texture. And I'm also going to add a little bit of white dots to their cheeks too, to make them pop a little bit extra there too. So I want to show you a little bit of close here. Super cute. I love how it turned out. So now we're going to work on the rest of the card, and I'm going to use this die here from Avery. This is actually a die that it's new to me. It's not new, but it's new to me. And I'm going to use this Snow and Cocoa 6x6 paper pad. This is one of my favorites ever. And but I don't know if you can still get it, but obviously if you can, I will go ahead and link it below. But I absolutely love the patterns in this 6x6 paper. And this is the pattern that I chose, and I really drew a lot of inspiration with the color palette from this pattern paper. So I also die cut another piece of the same pack with this snow pattern on it, and I think it really does break it up and gives it a nice little background to create a little mini scene for my little girl and polar bear. So just to make this easier, since it obviously is the same size oval, I'm just going to take some Micropore tape here. This is a very thin tape. It's actually medical tape, but it's great for things like this because it's so thin and it won't add extra bulk. But I'm going to kind of tape it on the back there and then add some liquid adhesive and then add that to my white card base. And that it really does make it easy to assemble onto the card. So I've gotten all that lined up and really pushed into place onto my card base. And now I'm going to work on my sentiment. So the sentiment obviously comes from the same stamp set. And I went ahead and die cut a banner using the Fawn Everyday Sentiment Banners dies. And I love these little banners. They're awesome sizes, and you can customize it any way that you'd like. So I went ahead and die cut that from another piece of white cardstock. And I'm going to take the Fawn ink here, and this is raspberry. And I'm going to ink that up with the Fawn ink and stamp that down onto my banner. I didn't ink it up as well as I wanted it to, so I went ahead and even though I could stamp it twice, and I did anyway, I went ahead and inked it up twice and stamped it down twice just to make sure that I got a really good solid impression. So once I've got that all finished, I'm going to add some foam adhesive to the back of my banner to give it a little extra dimension and pop it off the card there. So, and I like the tape that I use for this because the foam tape that I have is the exact size of this banner, which worked out perfect. And I'm also going to add some foam adhesive as well to the back of my image here, my main panel, or my main image that I colored. And I'm going to add that to my little scene. And then for some final embellishment, I'm going to take some shimmer using my Stella shimmer pen. I'm really trying to use up my Stella shimmer pen. I've got some other shimmer pens in my stash that I want to start using, but I wanted to use up the Stella first. And so to add some extra, I didn't want to add any gems or anything like that since I had the actual main image and the banner popped up. I thought I would go ahead and add some shimmer to those snowflakes to make those shine and sparkle. And it just adds that a little bit of extra something to the background, and it really does bring it to life. So once I have that all covered, I am completely done with this card for today. Thank you all so much for watching my channel today. I really, truly appreciate it. All the supplies that I did use in today's card are going to be listed and linked below the video for you, as well as the blog post link as well. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the description bar area or the comment section, and I will go ahead and get to those as soon as I possibly can. Thank you all so much for watching again, and I will catch you all in the next video.